Fain Taylor.
Thank you. Mistress of ceremony, fellow Toastmasters, and distinguished guests. Let me see you raise your hand if you enjoy seeing a great basketball game.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank you, thank you. Let me see you raise your hand if you can actually play the game.
In my sleep?
You notice that I didn't raise my hand, and that was on purpose because I am the most awful basketball player. And that became evident while attending the University of Florida. I didn't go out for the Gator girls basketball team. I played on a recreational league, and the only reason they chose me was because they need a minimum number of players to be eligible to play. It was not because of my athletic ability. So I became the 7th player on the team. I can remember the first day of practice. The coach gave me the ball, and he told me to shoot it. And I shot it like I did. I did like this. He said, "Why are you lifting your leg?" I said, "That's the only way I can shoot the ball." He said, "Well, you're not going to play anyway." He says, "Why don't you go sit down on the bench?" And while I was walking over there, he says, "Look, you don't even have to come to practice. Just show up for the game." I said, okay, I could do that. But one of the assistant coaches came in. His name was Willard. And he said, "Why are you sitting on the bench while everybody else is practicing?" I said, "Oh, I'm just here just so that we could have a minimum number of players, and I'm never going to play a game anyway." He said, "Oh, no way. You and I are going to go on the other court, and we're going to practice." So we walked over to the other court. He gave me the ball. He said, "Shoot it." And I did. He said, "Why are you lifting that leg?" I explained it to him, and I thought in my head, I knew he was going to send me to the bench again, but he said, no. He says, "This is what you do." He said, "The key to shooting a basketball is rolling it off your fingertips." If you've ever watched a basketball game and they show the ball after it's released from long distance, you will notice that ball has a little spin to it as it travels through the air. So we practiced rolling the ball off my fingertips. I continued to come to practices, missed plenty of balls, and I wish I could tell you I got better. But I didn't. The first game came, and I took my rightful place on the bench. And every game, I cheered my team on. I didn't feel sorry for myself. I didn't mope because I knew I was there for a purpose. And every game, I cheered with all my heart because I knew the best players were playing until the very last game of the season. Our star player in the 4th quarter of the game fouled out. With 2 minutes left in the game, our next to best player got injured. The coach had no other choice than to put me in the game. These were his instructions to me. Don't look at the ball, don't touch the ball. He said, when they run down the court, you follow. When they go that way, you go that way. I figured 2 minutes into a game, what harm could it do? I could do that. I ran out there like a pro, and I just ran down one way and down the other. Didn't take long for the other team to realize I was never going to get the ball. Maybe they heard my coach's instructions to me because no one guarded me. And as a result, my teammates were double teamed by the other team members. And around 1 minute left in the game, one of my team members was cornered. 2 girls were guarding her. There was nowhere to turn. I did what the coach said. I didn't look at the ball. I didn't. But for some reason, our eyes locked. And she looked at me and she threw that ball to me. I'm going to tell you, I felt as if she was throwing a hand grenade. This is how I looked as that ball came to me. Slow motion. No! While my arms were open, the ball hit me on the chest and landed in my hands. At the same time, one of the opponents charged me, because I guess she figured she could get the ball before I did. She tripped over her feet, hit me. 3 seconds left in the game. Game is tied. Who gets to shoot 2 foul shots? Me. I look at my coach. He has put on his jacket and he is walking out of the gymnasium. He's like this. Circus. I looked at Willard, the one who helped me roll the ball off my hands, and he said, "You can do this. Roll it off your fingers. You can do this." I looked at that ball, and I looked at Willard one more time. And I took that ball, I threw it, and I threw my leg up, and it rolled through the air. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. It was like watching an accident waiting to happen. And then it landed. It didn't hit the backboard. It didn't even touch the rim. That ball went whoosh, all net. The place went crazy. It was pandemonium. I was screaming. Willard was on the sideline going, "I knew it. I knew you could do it. I knew you could do it." I missed the second shot, but with only 3 seconds left, we won the game by 1 point. We won. That was over 30 years ago. And I feel like it was yesterday because I learned some valuable life lessons from that basketball game. Lesson number 1. No job is too small. The Bible says, in whatever you do, do it with all your heart, as if doing it for the Lord, not for man. Believe me, any little task that you do makes a difference in the bigger picture. I remember a story about a maintenance man who worked for NASA. He was mopping the floor, and someone approached him and said, "What do you do here at NASA?" He said, "I'm sending a man to the moon." He didn't say it to be sarcastic. It's just that he knew that even though he wasn't in mission control, his job was important enough for the overall mission to send a man into orbit. What you do matters. The second thing I learned, a very important lesson, is surround yourself with people who encourage you and make you a better person. I can assure you, if I looked at the coach, if the coach was my last vision before I made that shot, I probably would have missed them both. What made the difference is looking at Willard and him telling me, "You can do this." Because you know what? I believed him. So surround yourself with people who encourage you. If you don't have friends who encourage you and make you a better person, I suggest you find new friends. And until that time, encourage yourself. The third very important lesson that I learned, take your shot. Some of you have been working on something for a long time, and you're about ready to give up. Don't. I read somewhere that most of us quit when we're one step away from a breakthrough. Don't let that be you. I must have missed hundreds of shots before I made the one that really mattered. Also, there can be some of you here who's been given a wonderful opportunity, but you're gripped by fear of moving forward. Let me tell you about opportunities. It can be like lottery winners. They are few and far between. When the right opportunity comes before you, take your shot. It may be the only time that it may happen. Let me tell you why, how I know. That basketball game was over 30 years ago. I have never played another basketball game. That was my one and only opportunity. So I share with you in closing, take your shot because it may be the only shot you got. Mistress of Ceremony. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.